Hmm. Does anyone have a question I'd like to ask?
Stuart, would you please talk about, it's Pat Fay, would you please talk about surrendering the ego more deeply?
Uh, if you live with, uh, before I answer your question, every time people fidget or play with the computer, move, turn it on and off, I mean, it really, the whole class just changes. I'm working with somebody and suddenly they're in a whole different place. I mean, I know there are problems with Wi-Fi and there are problems with computers and this and that. But please, try to not move. It disrupts the whole class. It really makes it very difficult for me to remember who I've worked with, who I'm working with, where people are. And I just asking, not don't move. Don't play with your computer. Try to fix it before you sit down to the meditation and try to really stay still. I mean, I keep repeating this over and over again because it is something, I mean, if you were in person, nobody would move. Nobody would be playing with their telephone. Nobody would move. No, you'd be there to surrender everything else so you can sit and have a meditation class. This is no different. This is no different. And of course, the environment, the surroundings are a lot more familiar to people and people, all right, I can have a glass of water, I can disrupt the class, and it doesn't work. It's no different than an in-person class. If you move, if you fidget, it really disrupts the class. Not the kind of movement that takes place because of energy and Shakti, but I mean scratching, fidgeting, looking at your phone, doing this, doing that, turning the computer off and on. I mean, it really disrupts the whole class. And let's go into the new year where people can remember this. I hope you can all remember this because I'm trying my best to build the situation. And, and I don't, these distractions just tell me the people that make them really don't want to be here. Otherwise, they would respect it and they would really stay quiet and simple and centered inside and let go of everything else. What does it matter what goes on in this stupid world for the next hour? It'll still be there and I'm going to still have to deal with it. And I really am asking you all this. And let's start the new year with this kind of resolution. There would be that level of respect for the meditation. And it's not everybody, it's always a few people that do this kind of thing. And it's no good. It doesn't work. It disrupts the class, it disrupts the energy, and it makes it much harder for me to do what I do. So, anyway, back to your question, Pat. Can you repeat it about ego?
Yes, the question is, how does one surrender the ego more deeply?
Well, I'll tell you, Pat, it's very simple. Ego is right on the surface of each and every person. It's an energy that is immediately available for that we think we can use to get our way. It's an energy that we use to really step over other people and treat people cheaply and have this own our own self-importance and who we are and think we are is it is right on the surface. And if you want to, become a slave to that kind of ego, all it will do would be to defer you from having a profound meditation class, having a spiritual life. It's the whole purpose of doing this meditation is to get past the ego. It's to get past that level in us that really proclaims our self-importance to the world, which is just all charismatic bullshit. And it doesn't do anything to help a person grow in any kind of a profound way. All it does is create conflict and tension and make people, you turn people into your slaves because you happen to have a strong ego. That is not what a spiritual life is all about. Spiritual life is exactly the opposite. Humility, gratitude, depth, sweetness, kindness, joy, love. I mean, all of these things are, they really destroy, they really take us past ego. And yet, I would say 99% of the world lives according to the ego, who they are, their own self-importance, what they were going to accomplish in the world, no matter who they step over and do this to and that to. And it gets ridiculous. All it does is create war, creates tension, creates anxiety and conflict between people, you know, and it doesn't work. It doesn't work. And what this meditation is about is going past that. Your real self-importance is not located in the ego. It is located deep inside the chakra system where you're connected to higher energy in the universe. You're not going to try to be connected to higher energy in the universe if you try to egotistically force your way to do it. Doesn't work. You are going to be connected if there's gratitude, there's humility, if there's a deeper sense of purpose that requires surrender and letting go of all these superficial things that we think are going to get us something important in life. And real self worth is not egotistical self worth. Real self worth comes when the heart is open, when there's love inside a human being, compassion inside a human being. And what's the point of ego? Well, most people don't live with real self worth. So they need something to justify their lives. Ego justifies the I am a billionaire, a trillionaire, a gillionaire. I am a this, I am the best of it justifies their life instead of what justifying their life comes from a deeper sense of surrender, letting go, tapping spiritual energy. Spiritual energy is very powerful energy. And when it begins to guide your life, you don't need ego to do it. And the best image that one can have of them, I'm nothing. I am a child of God. That higher energy will guide my life. It is so powerful that it'll enable me to work out my karma. Ego will just create more karma. That's all it'll do. Create more karma. And we have to deal with that type of energy all the time. Other people impose it on us. So we need to get the strength inside where that kind of imposition doesn't throw us off balance, doesn't interfere with our connection to spirit. We have the inner strength to take it inside ourselves and just burn it up and not be trapped in somebody else's will. Now, there's much more ego in our world than there is surrender. So we have to finally get to a place where we realize, how am I going to deal with this stuff? I can't get into fights and arguments. People get hurt. I got to get strong enough inside myself where that I use other people's egos not as a reason to get back at them, but as a reason to grow in myself to where that kind of energy no longer bothers me. I am detached from it. And I learned this, I was in business for 30 years. I'm not really in business anymore. And one of the reasons I stayed in business was I had to learn how to deal with exactly what I'm talking about without allowing it to throw me. and to interfere with my spiritual evolution because it was around me all the time while I was doing business, running my gallery. And a spiritual life and leads to enlightenment, and ego just leads to the grave. That's where it goes. It's all transient, it's all bullshit, and it goes right to the grave. That's where it goes. You surrender ego, you tap spiritual, it brings a state of enlightenment. It enables us to develop the highest levels of our humanity, to attain the things we really need to have in life: kindness, love, compassion. And all that brings us to God, to a state of spiritual enlightenment, to a oneness with higher energy. I hope that answered your question, Pat. I don't know where else to. Does
Thank you,
anyone,
Stuart.
does
Thank you.
anyone, you're welcome. Does anyone else have a question they would like to? And I had plenty of ego when I was younger, I really did, self-importance and it took years for me to break that down, to get to a place where I don't have to control other people. I don't have to know better than anybody else. I do have to listen to what life teaches me all the time. And if I listen to what life teaches me all the time, I can't listen knowing better than life and using my ego. Does anyone else have a question?
I have a question, Stuart. Chris,
Yes, Chris?
are you going to be teaching a midnight class on New Year's Eve?
No, Chris, I'm not going to do. I'm going to teach a class on New Year's Eve is tomorrow, right? Yeah,
Right.
at 7:30 my time, I will teach a class, but I'm not going to teach a midnight class.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'd be half asleep probably, in the class, and I don't want to bring that to the class. 7:30, I'll be fine.
Thank you.
Yeah, and it's close enough to midnight where you can bring it into the new year. There'll be a class at 7:30, and there'll be a class at 1 o'clock on no, actually on 7:30 on Wednesday. And New Year's Day, there'll be a class at 1 and also at 7:30, my time. Everybody's got different times here, so you got to figure out when that is in your time.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. And thank you, Chris. Chris did the audio for my book, and it changed her. It really did. Something happened in her doing that, very amazing and very deep. And I just say, God bless you, Chris, for doing it, and for you and Dan, you did that. And Dan became a student because of all that. I mean, it's fantastic. It's like my housekeeper. I gave her a copy of my book, and last time she was here, I read it every day. I read passages to my father. And Stuart, can I ask you one thing? Can I give you a hug? It's my housekeeper. Can I said, Maria, yes. That's why I wrote the book. God is love. It kind of brought tears to my eyes, kind of a thing like that to happen. Does anyone else have a question they would like to ask? Okay, if there are no more questions, then there'll be meditation tomorrow at 7:30. God bless you all. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you. I don't see you tomorrow. Have a happy new year. Have a wonderful new year. And God bless you. Thank you. It's been an incredibly powerful year in every way, you know, good, the bad, everything manifested this year is extraordinary. Uh, a lot to learn from what we had to live through this year, you know. And bless you. Thank you. And see you all soon.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Stuart.
Thank you.
Start.
Thank you, Stuart.
You're welcome. Thank you.